is going on, viewers? We are live. This is your DM, Aaron Raphael Amin, and here we have our boy Suicide Shinobi.
How you doing?
Wendell on Instagram, that boy Riley Holst, also known as Kane.
Yes.
Mr. Kane revealed his last name, I think already. So
Yes.
Ray.
Selling Ray, yeah.
Okay, awesome. I don't want to spoil anything for everyone.
No spoilers.
How are you doing today?
Good.
Good, good. I'm very glad to hear it. I'm glad we got to have you down here for this interview.
Same. Yeah, I'm excited.
Me too, me too. And before we get into it, I'm just going to do my shouts out as always because, big shout out to Giant Dad, big shout out to Mates of Fates. They do a show called Songs of Creation. It's super awesome. Shouts out to my homie Matt Stu, Improv and D&D on Twitter. He plays with Level 1 Geeks. And they're on Twitch. They do wonderful stuff. Ryan Brown Comic Art, Hawaii Hex. They play with us and they have great art. Check them out. Big shouts out to the little guy right here, Gentle. He is our secondary electric technician, but he's still learning the job. Isn't that right, buddy?
Sure enough.
And I think that does it for shouts out.
Okay.
Tell me, what's going on today? You excited to play again? You excited for this interview?
I am excited to play again.
It's coming.
It always feels like an eternity, especially this one.
This time it has been an eternity.
But even when it's just one or 2 weeks, it feels like an eternity. But so yeah, I'm excited to play again. Excited for this interview. I liked everyone else's, so.
They're great. It's been super fun getting into your guys' heads. Excited to get into yours and display this to all the people. Anyone who is on stream right now, if you guys have any questions for Kane, Riley, please ask them. I'll be sure to shout them out as soon as I see them. But let's get with my first question. It's on the list. I've asked everyone. I'm gonna ask you. I assume I know the answer. But how long have you been playing D&D, and what really got you into it?
Oh man. I feel like I've really been playing for 2-3 years consistently, and then Critical Role is what got me into it.
Hell yeah.
I can't even remember why I found it or how I found it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was just on my YouTube recommended, and then I would just listen to it. I used to work at a printing press, and I would just listen to them in my ears all day. And so then you had that one big campaign with 8 people or 10 or however many it was.
It was a lot.
Yeah. And that was the first time I played, was in that campaign.
Jeez,
and then
2014, 2015.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So you've been in it for a minute. That's 7 years now.
Yeah, but I wasn't playing, but then we started in Tim's campaign, and then you had a couple different ones.
As always.
Yeah. And then I ran a couple.
Great job.
So, well, thanks.
You're very welcome.
And so yeah, ever since then, you played once and you get the bug, it seems.
That's true. Well, let's talk about the bug. Let's talk about playing a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
We do have a great question from Stone. I'm gonna wait on this a little bit, Stone, just so we can kind of get the balls running, get everything going with Kane. But I'm gonna hold on to that because that's awesome. Be ready for this.
Okay.
But first off, let's talk about this campaign. Let's talk about the inception of Kane. What made you want to play Kane, Sillen Ray in this campaign specifically?
Well, I always like to play edgy characters, and
That's a good move.
And I don't know, when I was making him, I wanted him to be this guy who made a really bad decision, and that's kind of where I got the name Kane. A wanderer who made a bad decision and then just lived with that as he traveled everywhere.
Okay.
And then I always wanted, or I didn't always want, but I figured I would kind of branch out to be a spellcaster because I've never played one before.
First time spellcaster.
First time.
Amazing.
Yep. And it's super fun, super sick. I now I can't imagine not playing without spells.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Not to. Gentle agrees.
It just makes the character seem so versatile. There's only a couple things. No, he's good at everything. Just because Bard, OP.
Jack of all trades.
But yeah, so he seems good at everything, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, as I was crafting him for this campaign, I just wanted to make an edgy character that fit an edgy dark world.
Okay,
So
for sure. I think you succeeded.
yeah, good.
So when building him, really what inspired Kane? What brought Kane to the forefront of your mind, and like what made him who he is now? Or like, I guess right before your first session, like what molded him?
Yeah, a little bit of Sasuke.
Oh, great choice.
A little bit of V from Devil May Cry, and then a little bit of myself.
Okay, as we all do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just put everything all together, and then I always feel like I have to play the character a few times before I really kind of find out what they are about or how edgy I want to make them, I guess. Because I feel like I'm a funny and out there guy, so it's hard to play just always everything's terrible and there's always this rain cloud over me. But so I try and balance it out. Plus, everybody brings their own comic relief into D&D, but
Absolutely.
but as a bard, I feel like it's kind of part of the job, being a little morale boost.
Okay, that makes sense. I mean, you do have to inspire. That is like part of your class.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of an important thing for you to do, is to bring that levity and positivity in this grimdark setting that I presented you all.
That was another thing, though, as I was building him, is I didn't want to be like the typical bard who just is all sunshine and rainbows and gung-ho and wants to fuck everything, as a typical bard trope, I think. But he's still suave and a ladies' man,
and we see a little bit of that with his interactions with Tiana at least, or his presumed ex Val. So what is it like getting into, and then Stone, your question's coming up after this, I just, what is it like getting into that situation where you have to deal with like all of this baggage and like you're trying to be romantic in the same setting where like all those embers and doused flames of romance are still surrounding you, especially like right now in Burnwell.
It's tough. I mean, she is such a harlot. Just every time he talks to her, he's just like, "Are you really saying this to me right now? Like you left me. You are the one." Or that's how he feels. He feels like the lover scorned.
Okay.
Out of that, and maybe they weren't dating, and Kane was just totally reading into the situation wrong.
As men are wont to do.
But but Kayn is totally convinced that they were in love and they were gonna run away together, and then they split, and so he is very hurt by that.
Heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Oh man.
As long as having his heart broken equally by the death of his mom, like in that same week. So it's hard to talk to her without being just like a total jerk.
Okay, for sure. That resentment, those residual negative emotions that just build up over time. So as you sort of search for, because I feel like Kane has a lot of purpose, and you're trying to find a lot of answers. And I feel like you're trying to find a lot of yourself. So how hard has it been searching when now you are almost blind?
God. Oh man, that was terrible. I'm glad that it didn't like mess up his whole face, because that I feel like just would have been so bad for him mentally. Losing his eye sucks.
I'll keep that in mind.
But you don't. Losing his eye, looking like a dragon, it makes all those things, or dragon-esque, having those features. That sucks, losing the other dragon eye.
Yeah.
And then he only has one. I feel like it makes things hard. It's just hard for him. he already felt like an outcast, and now losing his eye and looking the way that he does, getting this weird new big skull tattoo on his chest, it's all just weird. It feels like it's all just piling on him at once.
And it's funny that you say that because it really does feel that way. Like, I ask you about the eye, and you immediately bring up like the scales. You bring up like his tattoo and things are changing, but he's going through a lot of changes. Do you feel like that's putting a lot of, what does that pressure feel like? Does it feel like the world's out to get Kayn?
Oh, absolutely, because he already felt like that. He already felt like that for being a half elf in this world that doesn't like magic users.
Sure.
And he's a magic user, so he has felt like an outcast forever, which is why he really leaned into that, his look is aesthetically, you know, he's gaudy and has all the tattoos and flaunts them as hard as he can.
Mm-hmm.
And says he doesn't give a fuck about what people think, but I think maybe there's a part of him who does.
Okay.
You know?
For sure. I mean, it's hard not to, unless you're completely detached from the world.
Right.
Any perspective against you, on you, whatever, is going to influence some decision. So as far as like the mechanics of things, do you think things have gotten harder for Kayn specifically? Like, are you feeling that weight of losing your eye? Are you feeling that weight of growing these new scales and your body changing? Like, does that really actually make it harder for him, or do you feel like that's sort of almost surface level when you play?
A little bit of both. I feel like it's surface level in that people, because I have great charisma, so like I'm rolling and people, I can still convince them or influence them in a way, and maybe the scales and the missing eye are helping, or maybe they're hindering. You know, I don't really know. But for the eye thing, it hasn't really affected me spell-wise yet.
Okay.
Maybe if I get some new spells, it's gonna be a problem, and I guess I'll address that when I get to them. But luckily, there's other members in my party who still have their eyes, and they can pick up the slack there. Kane's not the forward scout or anything, so he doesn't need his eye.
Okay, that makes sense.
For the moment.
So then, let's talk about Kayn and the party. You say you've always kind of felt like an outcast. You're sort of this pariah who's really just in need to make himself. It almost seems like you need to make yourself known, and that's why Kane's going out of his way to be so like gaudy and ostentatious. So in this party where you have to share the spotlight, like, what is your role, and like, how do you feel about your crew, or how does Kayn feel about the crew?
Yeah. I feel like the role that I've played so far is the face. I feel like I've really done a lot of talking to people this campaign, and everybody has.
Absolutely.
But I just feel like Kayn is always one that will step in if things are getting really like tensions are getting high in a talking conflict. I feel like Kayn can either push those over boil, or simmer it back down.
Okay.
So that's good, and Kayn feels like he likes his crew.
Okay.
He likes them. He tries to keep an arm's length emotionally.
Which is definitely, you can see that, you can feel that, you can hear it when we play.
There's a couple of times, like when he was talking to Narissa, where he was like, "Oh, maybe we could be friends," and then she says something, and he's like, "Okay, never mind." he I think feels like he can use them. Like when he Irsid and Uren went to steal the wand,
right,
for example. That was all for Kayn.
Indeed.
Like, and the way that he told Irsid, like, "Oh, you can do this. You could be one of the greatest actors of all time." He was just like fluffing his feathers. He didn't mean anything he was saying to him. He wanted him to do the best job that he could so that Kane could secure this bag.
Fair
you know?
enough. Yeah, yeah.
And he probably doesn't care if that would hurt Ersed or not.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? So,
Yeah.
with your relationship, you say that now, and so it sounds like not only do you keep an arm's length, or this can't keep an arm's length, but there's like a significant amount of distance. Like, do you think there's like some friendship brewing? Are these
absolutely.
people that like Kane will care about, or like you say? Let's start with Ersed. Where do Kane and Ersed stand?
Kane likes Ersed for the fact that he is the same race as him.
Okay.
He feels like he can connect to
Reasonably
him there.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He can connect with him there. He also sees the kind of outcastness of Ersed living as a forest person, and then coming into these cities. It's a little out of his element.
All right.
And so Kane connects with him there, and they're chummy, and they crack jokes with each other. And so there is friendship brewing.
Okay.
And he cares about these people, but doesn't want to care about them too much because he doesn't want to get hurt. You know, he's not just not caring about them because he wants to use them as a means to an end.
Okay.
You know, he wants to be. He wants to be friends with them. He does.
Okay.
But he's scared that someone will die and then he'll get hurt, or someone will double cross him and then he'll get hurt.
There's a lot of trepidation
Yes.
there.
Yeah. Very.
So then who is Kane closest with out of everyone in the party? Who has started to break down some of these walls?
I think Narissa.
Okay.
She. Maybe he finds her charming because she's fucking weird.
Yeah.
And
that's been a common consensus.
Yeah. And so he likes that about her. She seems to be protective, and like she's had Kane's back a lot.
Absolutely.
Like
100%.
we were both down while Uren and Ersed were up on the top when Ersed lost his leg. It was me and her down there, and then me and her were looking for the treasures, and then me and her were there when I took the orb, and then she had my back when the invisible stalker was there. Like she's just been there, and so Kane feels like she is the least likely to betray him.
For sure.
Because she's just fucking been there.
Absolutely.
So,
Okay.
so that's why he feels probably like she's the closest.
And I would say you guys seem to have a lot in common in certain ways, specifically like, for example, when you guys both saw Mother Ganaya, to really deep dive into your psyches and subconscious, and like she was the only one who could really share that moment with you.
Yeah.
And so what was that like, having that? It's sort of like your subconscious thrown into your face.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was a super sick scene. I felt like I got answers, but also just more questions. It maybe kind of helped Kane, though, to kind of re-steer in a direction. I think Kane, like, he wants to bring his mom back to life, and so he asked that. He said, "Is there a way to bring people back from the dead?" And then I think it was his other self, his mirror self.
That is who you saw in that vision.
Who told him that's not what you need to do. And then they said, follow the moon. We kind of talked about my dad in that vision, I think. And then, so he's kind of maybe redirected a little bit how he's feeling. Maybe there's something else that can be done. Because he also did talk to his mom in that scene. And she was like, don't bring me back. So he in that sense, it did help re-steer him into maybe not this path of becoming necromancer. But
That
knows?
still might be. I want to put a pin in that. Actually, I mean, you just that's very interesting. But I do want to cap off this conversation about the party. So I have two more questions here. Let's talk about your relationship with Uren. What is that like? What are Kayn like? What is that like?
the connection of Kane is not very smart, but he thinks he is.
Okay.
He thinks he's smart as fuck. Probably more like a fox rather than an ape, you know?
Okay.
Cunning and sly, but not like critical thinking, doing with tools. Kane's not that, I don't think.
Okay.
I think he's just cunning and quick. And so their connection over, they seem to be both smart.
Okay.
I like their magical prowess is also nice. Kane likes that. Someone else he can connect to in that way.
For sure.
He doesn't like the fact that Uren likes dragons. You know.
I was expecting that exact phrase.
as it is, he doesn't think Uren is bad for it, but he doesn't think Uren is smart for it either.
Interesting.
You know, Kane's a firm believer in believe what you want.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I'm gonna say that you're fucking dumb for wanting to have dragons come back. When that dragon came out of the stone wall and destroyed that whole fucking mine as we ran away, he wasn't even doing anything. He was just fucking walking and destroying the mine we were in.
And that will instill some fear in many, because this thing just existing, it seems to be enough to scare Kayn.
Oh,
from
yeah.
more of them coming back. Even though, I think many would argue, and like you just said, Dragon Ivanir didn't do anything.
No, he didn't, but he could have.
He could, but so it's the fear of the unknown for Kayn.
It is the fear of. It's not unknown. It's not unknown. This motherfucker could destroy us. He could have killed all of us right there.
But he didn't. So where does that fear stem from? Because you want to say that like Uren is, you guys don't vibe because he supports the rebirth of these so-called ancient creatures who've been distant and like almost mythical and gone for
Right.
so long.
Yeah.
And now that you see one, you're like, no, this can't happen. What drives that?
I think feeling like he is top of the food chain. You know, he doesn't want, whether the dragons are good or evil or neutral, they can destroy anybody.
Okay.
You know, so that's what he's scared of. Whether they'll do it or not, he doesn't know. So maybe that it is a bit of the unknown, but I think it is the fact that in the flip of a switch, Ivanir could have fucking vaporized everybody in that village
Absolutely.
if he wanted to,
I think that's easily assumed.
and that's what Kane is scared of.
Okay.
And if there's X amount more, and they all say, hey, we could just kill everybody on this planet right now. And they swoop in and Daenerys the whole fucking town. Well, what are we gonna do?
That's interesting. So I see, and it's funny because when you say that, you see a lot of Kane's fear of betrayal there, fear of not being able to protect in that instance, which I think is really like a big thing for him. You've talked about like how you sort of lost Val, how you're worried that your friends are going to betray you, how Kayn has lost his mother. And these are all things that Kayn wants to fix but seem out of his control.
Yeah.
And so he sounds like a little bit of a control freak.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess probably he is.
Okay.
I
Okay.
never really thought about it like that, but he, after having none ever, you know, only control over himself. and the decisions that he made, getting the tattoos, you know, choosing to be a criminal instead of following his mom's lead as a traveling bard.
Even though he still does some of that.
Yeah, he does. But those were all the things that Kayn had control of, and then when he started taking control and doing things, then things got fucked up, and he couldn't, lost control again, you know, because things went okay for a while in his criminal career, making some money, getting some good stuff stolen, making some friends, you know, with his old gang, and then losing it all, seemingly.
So it's just that ebb and flow that is really just, I don't know, it rocks the boats. It's
Yeah, and he just doesn't want it to happen again. So, literally possibly losing all of it if all of these dragons take everything over. That's what he thinks is going to happen. He thinks the dragons are going to come out and say, we run this shit now.
Okay. I like the way Kayn thinks. I mean, it comes from a very, like, real and emotional place. And, you know, you can really feel those motivations from him. So, Saucy, before we get to your question, to cap this off, I put a pin in this whole necromancer thing. Like, what does Kayn really want from traveling with these people? Is it specifically to bring his mother back, or does he have more auspicious goals? Where does he expect to go with these three companions?
He wants to bring his mom back. He wants to find his dad. He wants to make a name.
Okay.
You know, that was the one, like, super bardy trope that I tried to give to Kayn, was like getting his song out there.
Okay.
And, like, you know, showing that he's not just some fucking street rat half elf who should be looked down on because he has tattoos and, like, is a magic user. We're all fucking people here, man. We're just trying to live. I'm fucking helping you people. You know?
That's true.
I'm out here with these guys killing these monsters so that you don't die. And so there's a little bit of control Kayn feels like he has, but then also it seems like none, because he goes and does things and then people are still like spit on him in the street, you know?
Just because of how he looks.
Yeah.
Just because of who he is on the outside.
Right.
And no one can really see that. No one can see the inside of him.
So those are all things that he wants. He thinks that traveling with these people who seem strong, you know, as a means to an end, again, hopefully they can help him achieve his goals. And then he has also been roped into this dragon thing. And so he's going with them not only to hopefully use them to help his own goals, but he doesn't want this dragon thing to fuck with those goals either.
Interesting.
He doesn't want to bring his mom back just so that dragons can come back and fucking kill her again, you know? He doesn't want the dragons.
Okay.
So that's another reason that he's going with these people. And, you know, through the nature of adventuring, I'm sure that friendships will blossom and he will be there to help them.
Okay.
Because he does want to help them as well, but as it stands, Kayn is purely motivated by his own goals.
Understood. And you guys are still a young party, and it makes sense for Kayn to not be as ready to necessarily ask for help, rather than, I mean, you say you use sort of like demand it per se, or maybe manipulate them.
That's what he's going for.
And
that's what he's going for.
And that'll be interesting to see how that plays out with the other characters, maybe how they'll garner to that or how they'll respond to that if it comes to light.
Right, yeah.
And so I'm interested about that. I'm also interested in, so throughout all of your adventures and all the time that Kane spent together with these people, I mean, what has been your favorite moment in the campaign? What was Riley's favorite moment, and what has Kane's favorite moment been?
Kane has hated it all. He just thinks that everything is bad. Trying to think. I guess. Okay, I'll answer mine first.
Word.
I really loved the moment that Eigenir was in Kane's fucking face.
That was crazy.
That moment was so cool. That's the first dragon I've ever encountered playing D&D.
Oh.
And so to just be like face to face with it.
And like that was a very intimate moment for you / Kane, because you were the only one there, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. And so it was super heavy, super cool, super cinematic. That was great. I loved that moment.
Awesome. Me too.
And then
good.
I guess I would say Kane's favorite moment was probably the pool and the subconscious.
Okay.
Getting some answers, being able to see his mom again. Priceless, you know. So that is probably Kane's favorite part of the adventure so far, is just being able to see her and talk to her again for the moment.
Or something that looks like her, it seems.
Yeah. It gave him some feels in the heart.
Some positive ones.
Yeah, some positive feels in the heart.
That's awesome. That's actually really cool, and it'll be interesting to explore Kane's relationship with his mother and his parents as we go on, and with all those emotions like thriving inside of you, just all this turmoil and turbulence. I mean, if Saucy asks if there was one sad boy emo song that could encapsulate all of that, what sad boy emo song best represents Kane's Ceiling Ray?
Oh my god. The first one, there's two that come to mind. The first one is A Part of Me by Neck Deep.
Okay.
And then Tears Don't Fall for Bullet for My Valentine.
Wow.
Yeah. Those come to mind for Kane.
Okay, I can see the Bullet for My Valentine.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to listen to those like right after this, just to really get into Kane's head. That's so funny. Well, Saucy, there you go. It was
that was a good question.
It was a good question. What were those songs again?
Tears Don't Fall and A Part of Me.
And A Part of Me, Neck Deep.
Neck Deep, yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Okay. Well, we talked about sad boy emo song Kane. We talked about favorite moments. Now let's talk about you and your relationship with Kane specifically. What are your favorite and least favorite traits or things about Kane? You can start wherever you want.
My favorite thing about Kane is oh man, I have a lot. I feel like I really like this character. I think my favorite thing is his ability to wriggle through situations by talking.
Okay.
I fucking love it. I love the talking that he can do. It's great. I think my least favorite thing, like character-wise, is that I feel like Kane would do a lot or anything for like more power, because after he got a little taste of this orb, oh man.
Well, he's greedy.
Oh yeah. Oh, he's greedy as fuck. Okay. Like as soon as the dude was like, steal some shit, he was like, okay, yeah, I'll steal it.
There were no qualms.
Yeah,
whatsoever.
He tried to do it immediately.
It's true.
Because he's greedy.
We'll see if that gets him into trouble. It seems like he's already got into a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
Specifically with the orb, and as things go on, just
Greedy. Orb? I think I'm gonna take that.
Yep. Now you
Greedy.
took some scales and
Yep.
presumably unleashed a dragon.
Yeah. Cool. You know? Your actions have consequences.
And do you feel like that's part of why Kane feels so strongly about the dragons? Do you think he feels responsible?
Yeah, he's like, I don't want these. Well, you did it. Yeah, well, who asked about that? You know, he's definitely salty.
Okay.
That he thinks that the dragon came out because he ripped that orb off the wall. You know, there's no such thing as a coincidence.
Right.
This motherfucker came out of the wall after he took it.
That is true.
There's no way it wasn't that. But then, when we were talking about to the dragon priest people,
Be careful. There's some scenes that our viewers haven't seen.
oh no.
Okay.
I think this has all been talked about. But
Okay.
because Urin knows that there's more orbs.
Yes.
And then when Kane heard that, he was like, oh, is there? So yeah, he's I dislike that about him, but I'm gonna lean into it hard.
Good.
I don't like how greedy he is, and I didn't like write that in. But as I was playing him, I was just like, he is this. That's why he's a criminal. He's greedy. He wants it.
That makes sense.
Wants it all. Wants the fame, fortune. He's a greedy bitch.
We can all be. And I think that's what's great, not only about this campaign or like you guys as players, or specifically you guys as players, if you guys all really put a lot of thought and effort into these characters, and in playing them brought out certain things that really help these characters feel real. And like, I'm excited to see you guys start pushing into the things you've discovered about your characters and really like just embodying them on screen and like in play. So I think we're in for some really just awesome role play and awesome experiences once we get back to consistency on the 11th. So be on the eye out for that, you guys. We're coming back on the 11th. We'll see you there. And before we let you guys go, feel free to drop any last minute questions in the chat. I hope you guys have enjoyed what we've had so far. This is always my last question for these interviews: is what is a crucial piece of advice, or what you would deem a crucial piece of advice to give to anyone playing D&D as like a player?
Man, player advice. Fucking wing it. That's what I do. I literally wing everything. I will have like a little bit of a plan in my mind, but it all goes bad. It's the nature of D&D, so you just gotta wing it and don't worry about like, I can't roll this or I can't blah blah blah. It doesn't matter. Like, just wing it and hope it works out.
Okay, I would say that's good advice. Just do you,
yeah,
really.
Just play the game and I guess don't worry.
Okay,
but also just wing it.
Just wing it. Don't worry. Just wing it.
Exactly. Stop stopping and go.
Okay. I think you heard it here first, guys. Riley Holst, Kayn Stone Ray.
Yeah.
Stop stopping and go.
Stop stopping and go.
And we are going to go and stop for the day. Satsi, thank you for tuning in. I'm glad you've been enjoying these. It's been super fun interviewing these cats. They're all amazing people. I'm sure we're going to get more in depth into some of these. I would like to do like character sheet like reviews and like really do deep dives into the mechanics of the characters, because I know some people have been asking for that. Just things like that. We have some treats for you guys coming next session, so be excited for that. And really, we just want to say thank you so much for joining us, for tuning in. Tell your friends, have them come in to our next stream on June 11th, and we will see you guys next weekend. Enjoy your night.
See ya.